turning off my phone, Dave. I did want to ask you about a couple things. I agree with Councillor Eliason that if that Ford is only $4,500, it makes sense, but I'd sure like to try it out. And I'd be in favor of a portable one, not one that's put anywhere permanently. So I'd like to see how that works. I think it would be effective. I know I get very frustrated coming down that because I do my best to try to stay at only about 8 kilometers over the speed limit, and I get people passing me, and it's trucks, it's citizens of town, it's people that I want to chase and tell them to slow down. And I think that the increased enforcement, I agree with Councillor Eliason, is a great idea. I'd prefer to see more time spent on the red light, the intersections, than on seatbelts, because I've said this before, the only people that get hurt by not wearing seatbelts are the people in the vehicles themselves. They're not jeopardizing other people's safety, in my opinion. But I do have a question. I've heard of a lot more break and enter retail businesses in the last little while. Is that way up recently?
Well, just in our commercial one, we had 9 in the month of October but we've had in the first 2 weeks. So yes, we have increase, and our plainclothes unit is looking at those.
When you get something like that, is it usually one person of people? Do you sometimes kind of know who it might be and catching them? I don't want to get any trade secrets here, but...
Yeah. Usually it's the same group, like 1 or 2 or 3 people can come into a community and just raise havoc. And until we either get lucky or someone gives us some information that we can curtail those, then it goes away for a while and somebody else steps up to the plate and takes their spot. So all we can do is, when they start happening, is try to do that, so see if they can find something. We have had occasions where people come up from other communities and we'll target the area over the weekend. It's not only just happening here in Black Bay. We've seen an increase there in the last 2 or 3 weeks as well.
Okay, thanks.
You'd make a comment on Reader, I'll skip that, and the assaults. Are they alcohol related, a lot of them?
Yes.
I think so. And then the assaults and threats with the young people. Is that statistically increasing each year?
I don't know. We have, over the last while, usually we see groups of kids getting, young adults, I shouldn't say kids, young adults, getting into more serious assaults, things like that. So well, we have the stabbing here in town, and there's, a group of kids involved with that. So we want to get to the bottom, hopefully lay charges very soon here, resolve that. But if we don't do anything about it, then I'm sure it'll continue to increase.
And that's young people here in town. Are you thinking that's linked to any gang-related incidents, or just young people at odds with each other?
There is a gang component here in Seminar, and why exactly some of these assaults happen, we don't necessarily get the real story from both sides, or from the victim as well. Sometimes what they're telling us why it happened isn't exactly true. So there's drug issues involved with some of those assaults as well, or upsetting each other. So it's not a random act. It's they have a history when these things happen. There are those that don't, but usually there is a history.
That one that was a knifing, that was that one that was that would fit under that, or what do they know it?
We're still working on that.
Okay.
So,
too specific a question. Thank you.
Councillor Sen.
One question. I know we've had some residents in the community, both historically and recently, raise concerns in terms of traffic enforcement of the transport trucks coming down the hill, and with it being potentially misinstalled or illegally modified Jake brakes, or whatever you want to call them, engine suppressors. The other day, actually, oddly enough, I was standing on the other side of the highway across from the detachment and noticed a truck doing exactly that right in front of the detachment. Would the traffic enforcement officer have any ability to ticket somebody like that in that more commercial vehicle inspection?
No, we're allowed to ticket for all those offenses as well. It's I guess, just looking at priorities. And we'll go by our detachment quite often. Yeah. You can't hear something outside there.
Yeah, because I just noticed it, and it's something like, geez, too bad there wasn't a police car there right there at that moment, pulling up behind it, because it was quite noticeable, and I don't, in terms of with our talks with the Ministry of Transportation, we've gone to, in terms of putting up signage again, asking people to, or themselves from doing that. We can't account for it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I did have one question. When we were working with the getting the skateboard part going, there were a lot of predictions of the increased levels of criminal activity, where it's going to go. Have you experienced any of that now that it's been open for a month?
No, myself personally, I haven't asked the question, but I haven't seen some. I know I've fielded a couple of calls where people have called in about a certain something going on, but they're calling in like 3 days later. That's not good enough. You need to call in when it happens. I.e., people drinking down there. Well, it doesn't do me any good 3-4 days later. I need those calls while it's happening. And we all names of who calls in, so, you know, if it's just a matter of individuals doing something illegal or inappropriate down there, the sooner we get those calls, the better, so we can make sure those types of inappropriate behaviors don't keep going.
Councilor Dan?
I was just curious with the Sunwave Center, now that they've hired private security for the Silverback games, are you guys getting less phone calls to come over there? Is it?
Our members still, I hope, are in there even just because they have security there, but I think it's a lot better situation that they have someone there that's controlling that, doing some patrols even outside and whatever, and being responsible to give that service there. I've talked to the person in charge of the security, and we've had a discussion about what our roles should be together. Basically, to call us sooner than later if there's a problem or anything like that, but we should be working together to provide a safe place for people.
So the members that still drop by and walk through when there's a game, have they said that there's been...
I haven't heard of any problems.
Great, thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So we have Chamber of Commerce, Fred Brayston, annual report to council. Welcome to council.
Worship, councillors, thank you for your annual report on PowerPoint presentation, which I think I would like to start with you on the Chamber of the activities that have taken place for some of our plans for 2008. So far in 7, the Chamber for 38 new member growth from years historically. So the growth itself of industries within here, as you'll see, we've broken them down into various categories. They're fairly generic: accommodation, attractions, construction, real estate, business services, professional services, etc. Yeah, our membership and profile continues to grow, and we're very pleased with the result of our efforts throughout 2007. The next, just to give you a little bit of information historically on what has happened. I'm sure you're aware the latter part of 2006. What we did is we identified an opportunity to really look at the historical habits, our revenue, do a fairly significant analysis of where monies are coming from, where monies are being spent, what various types of spending practices we had, etc., and just make sense of that. So we've got a little financial information that is available a little bit further on in the program, and you'll get to see where we've made some good improvements in that way. The other thing that we wanted to do is we wanted to make sure that we were enhancing our existing relationships with Downtown Improvement Association, Economic Development, and CSRD. And clearly, with our relocation to the old courthouse, we've been quite successful with economic development being upstairs. It gives us greater opportunities to interact with those individuals. We've certainly done the same with EIA and with CSRD. Probably one of our biggest projects for 2007 was, of course, the development of space at the old courthouse and our move to the old courthouse, which actually took place in June of 2007. It's a terrific venue. We have a lot of very positive comments, both from people locally and tourists coming in. Very easy to locate. Parking is relatively easy. We do have an issue, of course, with large RV vehicles who may be passing us by. It's very hard to get a handle on whether or not they would have passed us by, or the parking is impeding their ability to stop at M&R. But we had some discussions with, or a presentation proposal to the Downtown Parking Commission about getting some signage to get large RV vehicles parked down at the Salmar, and I'm certain that that'll take place next year, and we'll see results of that.